This is amazing. Now, Oxford, for instance, is modeled on the old kind of pondok, if you believe it or not, tradition. It's amazing. This high table business, Harry Potter, is absolutely something that scholars in our tradition, like Imam Juwaini, Imam Ghazali, Imam Fakhruddin Ar-Razi, Imam Nawawi, when they used to go to their quote-unquote madrasas, they would have the same experiences as many of these students today, for example, at Oxford would experience, from a simple communal perspective in this case. The teaching method, for instance, we do not, even in our universities, in majority parts of the Muslim world, we basically have lectures. We are limited to having lectures. At Oxford and Cambridge, we have the tutorial system. This is essentially a tuition system where you have one sheikh and one murid, one-to-one learning. And that is called, in the Islamic tradition, talaqi. To give you another example of intercultural exchange from the Islamic world to the Western tradition. So we talked about how to eat. We talked about how to study. And this is quite amazing, by the way. When we graduate today, and including here, alhamdulillah, now in my home country, Malaysia, we all wear the gown and the mortabot. And this is a tradition that goes back to, in fact, an Islamic tradition. When people go to pondok, pesantrans, madrasah, call it what you want. Fala mushahata fil asami ba'da fahamil ma'ani. Once the meaning is understood, there is no need to worry about different names used for the same meaning here.
Once we come back, is you living and working in that kind of environment, but there's a lot of issues out there that happens, and now with the global world, issues like the cartoon in the Danish newspaper, like the Gert Wilder video fitna, and the recent bombing in Jakarta. How do you explain all this, not only to your students but also to your academic peers? And in a sense, you might have to justify what has happened and why that has happened, and why is it people who believe that they are learning and having faith as sacred as Islamic faith, for example, would dare to blow up other people. I've read your writings on this, but maybe you can share with us a bit of it on this show after the short break.
Meet the leaders who are driven to succeed. Brought to you by Cycling Carriage Bintang.
Both his name and face are synonymous with a brash, bold style that's unique to Donald Trump.
People ask me all the time, how do you become successful? And I say, number one is you have to enjoy what you do.
Donald's a promoter. He's a carnival barker. He's a P.T. Barnum. He's a larger-than-life figure.
I've never met anyone quite as addicted to publicity as Donald Trump.
He has all the money in the world that he needs. He's in this because he loves the thrill of the victory and the chase.
Are you driven to succeed? Go to Cycling Carriage Bintang to sign up for your Mercedes-Benz now. Purchase or service your Mercedes-Benz at Cycling Carriage Bintang and you could win a trip around the world. Go to ccb.mercedes-benz.com.my for more information. Travel around the world with Cycling Carriage Bintang.
Setiap hari, ikuti perkembangan utama mengikut perspektif kita.
Retakan hubungan PAS dan juga DAP di Kedah diibaratkan seperti bangkai gajah yang sudah tidak dapat ditutup.
Pakatan itu adalah ada pakatan pilihan raya.
Kerajaan China memberi amaran berjaga-jaga kepada rakyatnya di seluruh dunia.
Kenyataan itu dikeluarkan berhubung perkembangan yang berlaku selepas rusuhan kaum.
Disampaikan oleh dua generasi baru dan berpengalaman di Astro Awani, berita segenap dimensi.
You're still watching Sudut Pandang, and we're still discussing on the sidelines of the International Conference on Muslims and the Frontiers of Knowledge in the 21st Century's issues, prospects and challenges. And I have one of the scholars from the conference here on my show tonight, and he is Dr. Muhammad Afifi al-Akiti. And you were telling me how, I've never known this before, that the graduation ceremony where you wear gowns and mortabot, that was actually inspired from the tradition of the Islamic scholars.
Indeed, yes. Essentially what we have of the gown is the jubba. What we have of the mortabot used to be a kalam suwa, which is a bit like perhaps the songkok, basic kopiah as the Malays would say. And we have then the Quran placed on top of the head and tied. So if you have this and you tie it, what does it look like? Indeed, the mortabot. And these are examples which I wanted to just say, particularly on this point, where we might have Muslims today who will object to, say, the use of mortabot and